Zacks rank buys, stocks with a short-term buy or strong buy recommendation. Now, here are more Zacks rank buys.
Let's check on a couple of value stocks with Tracy Reinick, our value stock analyst at Zacks.com. She's got a couple of doozies here that she's brought today, let me tell you. First one is, and everybody may pronounce this differently, SNX, you say potato, I say potato, SNX, the ticker symbol, nonetheless, if you want to look it up.
They are a distributor of IT equipment and systems.
Well, that says a lot.
I know. They have a lot of big company customers that you would know, the big names like, they distribute Dell equipment and things like that to customers around the world. So, their business has been interesting. They just reported fiscal second quarter, not that long ago.
All right.
And so we got a good indication of kind of what's going on in the tech area. And it wasn't awful. They beat estimates actually for the fourth quarter in a row, which is impressive. The revenue was down, but we're seeing that with a lot of most companies these days. But it wasn't down super sharply. It was down 3.5%, which isn't awful. So, they also guided to the next quarter higher than what the analysts were at right now. Mm-hmm. So the estimates are all improving. The company is at Zacks number one rank because the estimates are going up again, even though they've beaten 4 quarters in a row. So that's all good. They see some difficulties right now with the economic environment, no doubt, but a few of their segments are performing a little bit better. So, have they hit the bottom? They didn't really say that, but things are looking pretty good for them. The stock is not altogether expensive. It's trading a little over 10 times earnings. That's pretty good value characteristics right now.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, and the chart, they hit the low in March, and then they bounced off of that, pretty decently off of that. But again, they're not really overvalued here. So this kind of company should see uptick in revenue as we go forward as the recovery takes over.
Okay. As long as you're happy with it, we'll move on. Now, this one is another one that, and I have no idea how this is pronounced. So, again, we'll just pronounce it a few different ways here. Total, S-A, used the French company,
Total.
So you think it's Total, S-A?
Yes.
And S-A is a corporate designation of sorts?
Yeah.
In that country?
Yeah.
Well, you learn something every day here, don't you? T-O-T is the ticker symbol. It's all you need to know to look it up.
Right.
It's on the New York?
Yes.
Traded as an ADR?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they are interesting because they're the 5th largest integrated oil company in the world. So you put them in the category with Exxon and Chevron and Petrobras and PetroChina, all the big integrateds. They've been around a long time. They're worldwide. Their business model is a little more interesting than some of the others because they are more diverse in where they're exploring right now. They're in kind of the more speculative areas like Azerbaijan and West Africa. They don't have as much concentration in the North Sea and North America, where really the reserves aren't exactly going gangbusters right now. There are not a lot of big finds there. So they're taking some chances. They're going to some places that are a little more dangerous, or it's going to be a little harder to get the oil out of, but that should serve them well going forward here in the next couple of years because they are going to have bigger production, bigger reserves sitting there. So a lot of the analysts really like this company for that reason. The stock is pretty cheap right now. It's trading at about a little around 8 or 9 times earnings, which isn't bad for one of the big integrateds. One of the issues that they did have this last quarter, because the price came down so sharply on crude and natural gas, is that their quarter, the revenue was just decimated. Like the numbers were bad across the board.
Sales fell pretty big.
Yeah. But that was expected. That happened along all the industry, especially compared to last year when you had record oil prices. So comparing year over year, yeah, they saw a huge decline. Plus, demand was down. But going forward, a lot of analysts are really bullish because of the price of crude has gone back up, not as high as last year, but significant enough where earnings are now popping.
That price has been on such a roller coaster, though.
It has.
You really wonder if there's a way that any consistency in sales can be achieved with the way it's been up
right,
and down.
Right. That's more difficult for these companies, and it's difficult for these companies to plan for that. Most of these big integrateds are pretty conservative, so they allot for a lot lower than what it is and then kind of take the good when the good comes by. With the chart, you can kind of see the results of these big integrateds because they're not as speculative, or I don't know what you would call it, than the smaller explorers. So the stock sold off in the November sell-off, and then it's been kind of just treading water. You probably can see where crude goes up in the chart a little bit because these bigger integrateds will get a bump up in the stock price and then fall back. But this one trades with a big dividend, actually. It's over 5%, which is among the highest in the industry. So not only do you get some growth coming forward with these areas that they're exploring in, but you get to be paid while you're waiting. So this stock out of the bigger integrateds is pretty attractive right now.
All right. Do you own either of these two?
I do not.
If you want to take a look at more stocks in the value category that Tracy's written about, go to Zacks.com's homepage and look over to that upper right-hand corner where we house all of the latest headlines in all of the different investing categories. Tracy's, remember, is value, so you click on the headline that's next to the value listing. It'll take you to her current story on a stock that she's looking at and an archive of some others. With Tracy Reinick, I'm Terry Ruffalo.